Hello everyone, coming to you from New Mexico, Rio Rancho, New Mexico. That's my new address. I moved here about 3 months ago and I love it. It's really nice. So I just wanted to tell you who I was kind of before spine surgery and a little bit about my history before I start getting into specifics about, the spinal surgery that I had and all that. And I'm just doing these videos for people just to try to help people. And, if you can relate or, if you know something that I don't know or whatever, put it in the comments. That's appreciated. And it's going to be like off the cuff. It's not going to be, these aren't going to be like scripted videos or anything. I'm just going to kind of print out something like this, like notes to go by so that I make sure I hit every point that I want to hit in the video. And I'm going to do like a little mini series of these videos, maybe, like 15 or 20, 30 of these videos, explaining what I've been through and what my journey looks like, what it looked like and what it looks like now. So anyway, my life is drastically different. It changed 180 degrees 2 years ago, 24 months ago. I had spinal surgery. I had a lumbar fusion, and it totally changed my life. I mean, I was able to push through the pain for years. I've had a lot of orthopedic surgeries. So my history with orthopedic surgeries is between the ages of 13 to 20, I had about 13 surgeries. I had 10 hip surgeries and 3 knee surgeries. So my nickname is Too Tall. So I'm 6'8". I'm very tall. And I like being very tall, but it came with a hefty price. And that price was that I grew too fast. So when I was 13, I spurted up and everything separated. So I basically had like what you'd find in dogs, like they have hip dysplasia. I had basically hip dysplasia back in the late 80s. And back then they didn't have any, nice titanium rod hips and all that lasted for years. They only had like this metal mesh stuff that lasted for like maybe 6 years. And I was 13 years old. So that wasn't going to work. So it was either put me in a body cast for 7 or 8 years while I grow, or pin and plate me as I grew, when I was younger, when I was going through puberty and I was growing. So at 13, I pretty much started everything, as far as having surgeries and not living a traditional young life, that's for sure. Because at 13, I pretty much couldn't do, at 12 or 13, I remember I couldn't do PE, I couldn't run, I couldn't do anything like that. So I started having surgeries about 13 years old, and they just did multiple surgeries like every 6 months. In those 7 years, I had a surgery approximately every 6 months back to back for 7 full years. So after that, after I got through that and detoxed off the drugs and all that stuff, like I was on pain pills back then. You could go to the doctor's office and they would give you pain pills right there in the doctor's office. So when I quit having those from like, let's say 20, 21 years old to 53 is when I had my spine surgery 2 years ago. I'm 55. So I was able to push through the pain for 30 years and have a decent regular life. I was a general manager for large single family communities in California. So I had a very good career. It was a 30-year career, and I managed some of the largest properties in California. And it was interesting. It was a cool career. It was, different. I had to move a lot, so that was crazy. But it wasn't the worst job in the world, and learned a lot about business. So I was able to push through, like a lot of people do, when you have pain, chronic pain or whatever. It's not really chronic pain, but it's, it's just arthritis and stuff. So, but then when I had the surgery, it totally changed. I didn't even know that it was spinal stenosis. I mean, you really don't know until later. A lot of people have it, and a lot of people get diagnosed with it, but you don't know you have it until the disease is usually progressed. So I found out about 4 or 5 years ago that I had severe spinal stenosis, which is a narrowing of the spinal canal because of a bulge disc or growth things, whatever's going on with your spine. It pinches the spinal cord. And so I found out about 4 or 5 years ago, and then I had the surgery and all that and went down that road. So I explained a little bit of that and showed you the spasms that I have now, which are pretty incredible since the surgery. So anyway, I've never had an easy body, that's for sure. My body has never been real easy on me. why I finally said yes to spine surgery. Okay, so I found out about 4 or 5 years ago that I had spinal stenosis severe, and I wasn't working at the time, so I didn't have health insurance. So I knew I needed to get it done. So when I got a job about 2.5 years ago in California, I got a job and I got insurance, and I thought, okay, great, this is the time to do it. And I couldn't hardly work because the pain was getting pretty bad. And so I went and got the talked to a surgeon and said, hey, I need to get this done. And at the same time, I was losing my job, which sucked. I had a political job. It was it was kind of fun. It was a decent paying job, but it was political. And I knew that I was going to be soon losing my job. So when I talked to the neurosurgeon and said, hey, you need to get this done, man. Let's do this. That was on my mind. My mind was just focused on let's get this done while I have insurance, because I had waited about 2 years prior to this. So I said, okay, let's do this. So I met with him and he said, yeah, let's do a laminectomy, a decent mid-grade surgery to kind of open up the nerves and give my legs some room to work with. And about 5 days before the surgery, he calls me on the phone with his wife and kids in the car about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night and says, I talked to, and this is like 5 days before the surgery, and he says, I talked to my colleagues, and you need a much larger surgery. You need a lumbar fusion. So yeah, I think he pretty much did it for the money, which I said in my last video. So anyway, that's why I said yes to it, because I knew I needed it from another doctor. I just didn't know the severity of it or really what was entailed, because I was working full-time, managing a large property. I was running out of insurance and I was losing my job. So I was like, okay, let's get this done and over with so I can move on with my life. And I expected, of course, to have a good outcome. I expected the spine surgery to work and for everything to go the way it's supposed to go. So, I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be perfect, but I didn't know that there was such a dramatic possibility for failure. Anyway. So that's why I finally said yes to surgery. Let's see, my expectations, be honest. Let's see, okay, I'm always honest anyway, as honest as I can be. I thought the surgery would give me another chapter of life. I knew recovery wouldn't be easy, but I believed it. Yeah, okay, so yeah, I mean, it's just, I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I needed to get it done. So I did it, and you saw what happened with the last video and the spasm, so. So anyway, what happened after surgery was something I never expected, and I will be talking about that in the upcoming videos about, what I what I experience on a daily basis, not only my spasms, but other issues, tools that might help you that I use on a daily basis, and how I structure my time, my schedules, pain management issues, stuff like that. I'll kind of try to do like a topic, a video. And if you're considering spine surgery or recovering from one, I hope my story helps you and you find better questions to ask. That's really one of the main purposes I'm doing this for, is that I want to give people what I didn't have. What I didn't have was time to reflect and time to say, hey, wait, let me back up here and see what the ramifications are. I really just I don't want to say good or bad. I'm definitely not a surgeon or give health advice, but I definitely want to point out the mistake that I made so that people don't make that same mistake. That's really my main point for this channel. So anyway, this is my first kind of just go off the seat of my pants and talk. So look for more videos, and please subscribe, and please share if you know anybody that has had back fusion or back surgery or chronic pain or anything like that. So I will see you on the next video.